Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? Today is September 7th, 2022. And I'm going to discuss this topic that came up on my live feed about graffiti and during the pandemic and how these people are laying it all on the line with cameras all up in the business and all more police than ever, and how they're really going at it. And I also was kind of, I don't know, a lot of you guys think I'm bitter towards, I don't know what, a couple of different things. I guess we could pick through them as they come up, but one of the main things is against the new school of people. And I don't say bitter, it's just I'm entitled to like what I like. And let me start from the beginning. Originally, in Italy, Rome, graffiti about killing Alexander or something. I think I explained it earlier. Alexander the Great. Was it Caligula? One of them. Anyway, it was graffiti back then. Alright? Even prehistoric times or whatever. Fucking Europe, America, Kilroy, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Cornbread, Taki, so on and so forth. But the original actually writing graffiti was kind of like political in the 60s. Flower power and no more war, nukes, nuclear shit, Vietnam, and then the 70s come around and people start catching tags. All right? Now, by the time I kick in the 80s, it's off the fucking hook, like I've explained. It, to me, was the hardest time to write graffiti. Would probably be in the 80s as far as it goes with getting yourself fucked up. Not necessarily getting arrested by the police, but getting caught out there by another group of graffiti writers. We'll call them a gang, graffiti gang, and you'll get the shit kicked out of you. Get the fucking shit kicked out of you like I have gotten done to me. As I've explained in the past, my face got cut open up down 175th Street in the A tunnel. Missing tooth, everything. It was hard. Shit was rough back then. Then you had the crack out there during the crack epidemic, so that also made things hard. Like, what I'm trying to say is the graffiti game was like a very masculine, macho man, like, you get me? It was like that in the 80s. It was, yo, you gotta fucking show or prove, or as the famous quote goes, you play pussy, you get fucked. So, yeah, I grew up during that period of time in graffiti. And I got the battle scars to prove it. Many different, throughout my whole body. Not all of it's from graffiti, but, you know, falling off shit, stuff like that. I've got hit by cars writing graffiti. Anyway, now, I actually witnessed this whole thing come about with this new style of graffiti. Like I said, it was real manly shit, yo. Like, people will fucking fight, yo. You go for yours, bro. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be up. You can't run around like that's how like graffiti groups originally started. Because, you know, people didn't want to get caught out there and get the fucking paint stolen. They didn't want to catch a fucking bad one, man. Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, graffiti crews also, it's good when they're doing pieces and stuff and they could share different colors when they're doing trains and stuff like that. Yeah, but during that era of time, you get your fucking ass kicked, man. Very seldom were people actually getting arrested. I hardly know any real graffiti writers back then who were actually getting popped. I mean, I barely even got popped. I mean, they did catch me eventually on the sixes. But, I mean, yeah, it was like not the biggest problem you had. It was getting fucked up, getting the shit kicked out of you by other writers. As I've explained in my past podcasts. I've gotten the shit kicked out of me quite a few times out there. Been jumped a lot. I used to go solo, only by myself. I ain't need nobody. Fuck that. I played the game the way it was meant to be played, or the way it was taught to me to play. And then trains die. Much respect for all the train writers. But graffiti on the subways, that era is over. It gets buffed. And all of a sudden, the 90s come around. That's when it all started going wrong. Like what you see nowadays as graffiti are, let me just, not even graffiti, just the city, the country. What you're seeing now, I believe it started actually. I mean, you guys are going to laugh and think I'm fucking nuts in the head or something. But Robert Dyer, have witnessed it starting with the graffiti culture. Now, what I mean by that is all of a sudden, kids that were just, oh, well, I want to, pretty much after the movie Star Wars came out. A lot of people jumped on the bandwagon with graffiti, but there was still, the neighborhoods were built a certain way. People carried themselves. That's it. Carry yourself a certain way compared to that period of time. Like back then, you take a beat and you fucking, whatever. You know, you might plot, get the guy back or whatever. It's everyone. Like Manhattan is Manhattan. It's like, if you think about it, there's more races of people in Manhattan than like anywhere else on the face of this earth. Now, definitely New York, all right, the 5 boroughs. But when it comes to Manhattan, everyone's mixed in there. When it goes to other boroughs, a lot of it's broken down. Even certain parts of Manhattan is broken down, like Chinatown, which the Little Italy used to be right next to it, but technically there's like no more Little Italy right now. Today it's like all Chinatown. And I mean, there's still Mulberry Street. And you had Spanish Harlem, which didn't necessarily mean it's all Spanish. You had Spanish black people up there. You had white people living up there. A lot of Irish people. On 116th Street, you had a lot of Italians. You actually had a little sect of the mafia there. You had the Purple Gang. You had Tony Salerno and them. Yeah. So 116th Street, Pleasant Avenue. Yeah. And different areas throughout, like Bensonhurst is Italians, Ozone Park, this, that. Woodside, Queens is generally Irish. Even way out there in Far Rockaway, there's another Irish community out there as well. Different areas, different people. But when it comes to Manhattan Island, it's kind of like just everyone just is everyone. Like, it's not like the Deep South and nothing. It's like Manhattan, you get me? So, and the fact that we're actually on the border of Harlem, we hung out with everybody. But the way things started working, I started to realize it. It's like how now society is with the woke movement, I guess would be the term, and how it's like I seen this shit happening with like graffiti back then. Like all of a sudden, like the manly brute, the fucking the macho man graffiti, now all of a sudden belongs to like a bunch of like interior decorator, designer motherfuckers. You get me? That is my fucking problem. In the course of the 90s and the books coming out and the DVDs and the fucking all this bullshit, all of a sudden fucking graffiti, like, yeah, rah, became like, like, you get me? It just did a 180. So what I'm trying to say now is, yes, it was very politically motivated in the 60s and stuff with the graffiti, the shit that I did and the shit that is graffiti, like not necessarily stuff you would see in a gallery or anything. I'm just talking about vandalism, getting your fucking name up, tagging, bombing, doing filming, shit like that, just straight up getting your name up. The whole aspect of that thing was just like you walk around like a samurai. You get me? Almost, or like a cowboy or something. I've explained this before in my past. And it's like, yeah, like, you know, it's like that, at least in my head. That's the way I lived it, and that's the way people were doing it. But by the time the 90s came around, it was all fucked up. Yeah, it was like, stop it, you can't do, like seriously, like people would like turn into a bunch of little bitches. I mean, most of the people I'm talking about, they already fell off. Once the train stopped, they're like, I'm not riding around in the streets of New York or nothing. But the 90s, yeah, it was all like, all right, just put it this way. I think now, looking at graffiti, it just seems like such a leftist, liberal movement in my eyes. And I'm not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, I never voted a day in my life. I'm sure there's a way someone could figure that out on the computer and you can see I'm not lying to you. I never voted a day in my life. I don't give a fuck, man. That's a little bit above my knowledge. I just worry about what's down here. I'm a bottom feeder. I'm a scavenger. I don't give a fuck about that. I mean, I get up in the morning, I go to work, I do my life, I live. Sometimes I make more money, depending on what president's in. Sometimes I see less money. Sometimes my tax gets eaten up, sometimes it don't. I take it. like a knock on the chin. And I go forward with my life. I was never on any type of public assistance. I was never, and I mean, other than me being thrown in prisons, like during like juvenile centers when I'm a child and stuff like that, and maybe seeking my education in the public school system, yes. But I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat. But the way this shit is now out here with like people not getting locked up and people being able to steal up to $1,000 worth of shit at a Target and just like the violence and shit, it's like people don't realize, but you can't let your foot off the neck of shit like that, you know. It's like a perfect example. Like if there's a hole in the fence, a fox is going to get in and kill your chickens. You get me? It's like that hole is the weak link. You follow me? And the court system right now is like the weak link. So what I'm saying is criminals don't go away. It's like the wolves are coming, y'all. Like straight up. Like you might not really understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I have not lived my life. But the wolves are coming, y'all. Straight up and down. The people that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. And it's like a perfect recipe for disaster. And I really despise the graffiti of today. I really do. I mean, it's almost the same way how during the Dinkins administration, yes, I got married. I was living a married life, but I chose to get married and put down graffiti because Mayor Dinkins was in office. That shit was like a free-for-all. That's like when MQ and JA and them started really coming out and popping off. Like the whole city, V for everyone's just smashing shit. It was too easy. There's no competition there. And right now, it's the same deal. There's no competition out there. You can run around writing and writing and writing. I've explained once before, back after the trains died, I was probably 21, 22 at this point in my life. And I was writing graffiti. I think it was on 96th and Broadway, just catching an RD-10. You know, cop saw me. And he was actually blue and white, bloop, bloop, the whole shit, wearing a uniform, two of them in the car. And he asked me, he said, what the fuck you doing? I just found the can of spray paint, I'm sorry. He said, don't write there. This is what the man told me. He said, write on the mailbox over there. No, not the blue mailboxes with the put mail in, but them big green ones. He said, write on that. That's city property. No one gives a fuck. You're writing on someone's building there. That's what the cop told me. And he kept going. So that's like pretty much how graffiti was at that point in life. It was really just that simple. Like you could like just walk around and just write fucking graffiti. But you get caught out there, you get your ass kicked. But later on into the 90s and stuff like that, nah, it was all just a bunch of whining little bitches. Like straight on through. Like at that point, like I would catch people and all of a sudden, like all that shit, and even during the era of the computer, when that started picking up all the people that were talking all this shit about me, I'm like, I got you now, motherfucker. I mean, hey. Hold on a second. On the computer, these motherfuckers act like they're a big fucking King Kong or something. Well, every so often I'd get one of these guys. I'd catch them. I mean, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every so often. So every so often I'd actually get one of these guys. I'd grab them and all of a sudden they're like, yo, everything and anything you could want to hear. Oh my God, please don't. Oh, no. My mother says a little brother. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be home. Like, yo, I'm like, it's like they'll break down crying. Like they'll curl up in a little fucking ball. True story. Near the hubcap of a car in a field position. Like they're trying to crawl back up in their mother's pussy and go back to fucking being born. They're like, so like, I'm like, this is weird. Because yo, just 5 years before that, I see a motherfucker, he said, yeah, fuck you, Rob. What the fuck you gonna do about it? And I'm like, what am I gonna do about it? You get me? It's like, boom, 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 boom. And then it's just like, all of a sudden, that just is not there no more. And it's now like, people that are acting real tough. But when you actually catch them, they're like, and then when you let them go, they run home and they start that shit on the computer again. Like they think like you're never gonna get them again or something like that. So I kind of fell into that and just started smashing everybody. Like I said, I've had beef with the whole fucking city. They're all a bunch of little pussies. And now I really can't say nothing else more or less than what's going on out there right now. There's really nothing big about it. Like you say, oh, they're putting it all on the line. They're laying it all on the fucking line. Yeah, these people nowadays, they're real true rebels. They're doing this, they're doing that, but you're not getting arrested. Like there's nothing, you don't have crazy fucking other graffiti writers chasing after you, trying to fucking kill you, or at least definitely put you in a wheelchair. I could tell you a few people got fucked up real bad, none of my business. But yeah, and all this shit that's going on is not what's going on. You can talk all that shit. Now, I will tell you this. Them dudes that go from Europe or wherever the hell they come from outside the USA, they come here and they write graffiti on subways and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They get ran over by a train. Yeah, they put it all on the line. Yeah, they're done. They're done. Yeah, that's putting it all on the line. Roo, roo. All that shit, yeah. But if you get caught writing graffiti now, the cops can be like, come on, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, honestly, like, they're not even going to arrest you. They're not even arresting people carrying guns. Like, you could shoot someone in the ass and you'll get a desk appearance ticket. I'm dead serious. I mean, if you shoot him in the ass, yeah, or in the arm, they might say you were aiming for the heart and it's attempted murder. But if you clearly just shoot someone in the fucking ass, it's like it's like, nah, you'll be out the same day. Yeah, just as long as you don't kill the motherfucker. So, like, no one's getting arrested. They're really not putting anything on the line. And I'll tell you, once this pandemic is over, and it's like over right now, and I do see police performing more of their duties, but you got to realize, man, them cops got their life all fucked up too. They can't, you go to handcuff someone, geez, I'm calling Jacoby Myers, you dislocated my shoulder and this and that. But that's like the movement of now. Like back in the days, you wouldn't even dare do some shit like that. Like I would get the shit kicked out of me by the cops and I'd be acting like you would, fuck, that's all you got, motherfucker? You get me? Like I wouldn't be like, oh, stop. Like I would never give them the satisfaction of that. I like cops. I got no beef with them. I wrote graffiti. It was part of the game, you know? But when you really look at this whole situation and how the city is right now, no one's really putting nothing on the line. I bet you the cops, if they see you write graffiti, they're going to wish they didn't even look in that direction because now it's, fuck. This asshole, now we got to go do all this, like, blah, blah, blah. It becomes a nightmare to them. They just want to get through their shift without getting sued or shot. Yeah, honestly, that's probably their biggest fears right now, getting shot or getting sued. Yeah. So, you guys got it very easy. But mark my words here, as far as it goes, today is what, September 7th, 2022. You mark my words. When all this stuff is over, 85% of the graffiti writers you see out there right now will fucking disappear. They'll be gone like that. You know why? Because it got harder and they become chicken. Yeah, that's what happens. When it gets harder, they all disappear. It thins out the herd. It's like I used to say it during the Giuliani administration. Giuliani came in office, hired 15 cops as a vandal squad, locked up a bunch of people. Everyone else just ran. Yeah, it's like putting the lights on and off in the fucking, in the kitchen when your cockroaches run away. Yeah, the only people out there writing during the Giuliani administration was me and Just. Yeah, during that whole, because you would go to jail. There's people, I know people that went to jail 6 months, Rikers Island. That ain't no little picnic, fucking Rikers Island. It's fucked up, man, for graffiti. Shit. Hell yeah, I know people that I am friends with that have physically told me when they got out of jail, they caught me, this, that. And I heard of people I don't like, enemies of mine, that have also gotten caught writing graffiti. And they went to Rikers Island for 6 months during the Giuliani administration. So, to answer the question, the hardest time, I believe, writing graffiti, as far as it goes with the law, is during the Giuliani administration. As far as it goes with getting your ass kicked and getting fucked up and chilling with like real rebel graffiti writing shit, the 80s, straight up, the subway era in the 80s. Mid to late 80s is all I could claim. Maybe early mid 80s, 83, 84, I don't know what the fuck happened before that. But yeah, I could also break down who was tough writers that were also out there like that. Other crews that were very tough or violent crews. During my run, when a lot of crews had started to fade out, like RTW and stuff like that, when I was really starting to pick up, a lot of them other groups, they already stopped. Like 85, like I said, most graffiti writers back then had like an 8-9 year career. They didn't go on for 40 something years writing graffiti. They wrote 8-9 years, some of them 3-4 years, 5 years. That's a norm. Teenagers, once they weren't a teenager no more, they stopped writing graffiti. They got into women and other hobbies in life. You know, it's just what children did, pretty much. Yeah, now, that's how I would put it. What else could I say about it? Yeah, I think now it's very easy pickings, but eventually it'll start getting harder, probably after New Year's, just because like once they start this congestion pricing and stuff like that, and I believe at that point, that looks like when they're going to really try and tighten up the reins on the city, and like try and recuperate what's left. I mean, from what I understand, and even with Mayor Adams, I mean, he's got a tough task ahead of him, but apparently just this month alone, I heard there's a decrease in shootings and murders. And for a minute there, that shit was popping off like a motherfucker. And during the summer, they're normally the most violent months in New York City. It's hot. And plus, around the 4th of July, it sounds like firecrackers when people are blowing each other away. There's shots. They echo off the buildings. It's hard to actually pinpoint where it came from. But now they do have this technology that can actually figure out exactly what caliber gun and exact where it was shot. Yeah, they got this new, like, rapid gun response fire system. You can look it up on the computer. You can actually see where the latest shootings were. I never did it. I used to go with this girl that was fascinated with that shit. She's always looking at the new shootings and stuff like that. So I do know the website exists. I myself have sat over it and looked over her shoulder and seen it. And yeah, they got, it's like tracing all gunshots. And they can distinguish between firecrackers and actual guns that go off and stuff. Let me pause this and turn it back on, people. So, yeah, it's pretty much what's going on. But when you're in the heart of the city with big, tall buildings, you go, I'm serious. It goes like this. Like, that's how it sounds. Like, and it's hard to detect it. Like, you could be around the corner and be like, yo, I remember when, no, that wasn't with Puffy and Shine. I mean, I was out that night when Puffy and Shine, but I remember one time that we heard it was like, and I was down there like the financial district. And I mean, I lived up in Hunts Point in the South Bronx, so that's where people actually keep mattresses over their windows and shit. Yeah, up there it would be a regular basis. You'd hear fucking gunplay going off left and right. But over there also, the terrain, the buildings are lower, so it kind of goes, bah, 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 bah. You heard? It's not like, it don't have that, you know, that sound don't exist when it's like private houses or lower buildings that are like 2-3 stories. But when the buildings are 30 fucking stories and you're fucking shooting it out, it's like, yeah, you hear it like, it pings. It's weird sound, and it does not sound like a gun. Of course, a police officer, someone is familiar with the sound will know exactly what it is, but it definitely sounds different. I don't even know where I'm going with all this. You get the idea, right? With this whole graffiti thing. So, yeah, it's almost like now, yeah, graffiti is like a liberal type thing. Like, at least the way it's viewed to me. It's like, yeah, it's become like part of a movement or something like that that I'm not down with. Like, that's why I tried to say I don't like to go on other people's podcasts, because I could go on their podcast and yeah, this, that, and then a month or two later they change their whole gender up, and I'm sitting there crowing about shit right on their fucking podcast. All of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, it makes me look bad. You get me? So no, I don't fuck with that. I stay right here because I know what I am and what I do in this world. You follow me? And like I said before, as far as it goes with racism and me being a racist or anything in them areas like that, that went around. I've been through it all. Like I said, I've been called everything. I've been called a transvestite. Yeah, I've been called gay, all types of crazy shit. A dope fiend, junkie, yeah, all types of crazy shit. Let's break it right there, people. Okay, you get my idea, but let me soften it up a little bit here. I like you guys. You new guys, like I've explained, there's a few of you out there that are doing good shit. But let's see what you do when this shit is hard. You know, it's all easy, you know. Yeah, but when your shit picks up, it kicks up a notch or two. let's see who lasts. You know, that's when it separates the boys from the men. And you'll see that 90, maybe 85% of these people that are out there writing right now today, they'll be gone. They'll get arrested once, twice. Fuck that shit ain't for me, yo. No. I gotta think about my career, my college, you know. You're not in it like it was back in the days. It's a different breed of creature. Like, they're not violent in any way, shape, or form. Actually very soft-spoken, like liberals. Graffiti writers, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll probably lose a lot of followers from this. I'm not a Republican. I'm not down with Trump. I never voted a day in my life. Like I said, I deal with things that are within my control. You know, if I can fix it, I fix it. Like I said, if I get too fat, I lose my weight. You get me? Like things like that. A perfect example. You know, I can only control what is within my realms and my reality. Take care of your people, all right? All right.